Ever just hanging out at the train station, waiting for your train,
Sure.
and you notice those little metal plaques,
Uh-huh.
the ones bolted onto the platform or like on a nearby wall with the numbers on them and like a weird little sliding block thing?
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. They're easy to miss if you're not looking for them.
Totally.
Mm.
But once you see one, suddenly you're noticing them everywhere.
It's true. It's like they were hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
And you're definitely not alone in wondering what they are.
Right.
Online forums are full of people posting pictures of these things like, what is this thing?
It's practically a rite of passage, I swear, for anyone who's into railways to go down that rabbit hole.
Totally.
So that's what we're here to do today, to solve the mystery of the little metal plaques.
Exactly.
Get ready to deep dive into the world of datum plates.
All right, let's do it. Datum plates, they're kind of like the unsung heroes of railway infrastructure. You know what I mean?
Okay, so less romance of the rails and more, like behind-the-scenes precision or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not as glamorous as a cool locomotive or anything, but they play a really important role.
Okay, I'm into it. But seriously, though, what are they?
Well, put simply, a datum plate. It's a fixed reference point.
Okay.
Think of it like the railway's built-in measuring stick.
So like a measuring stick for the tracks themselves.
Exactly. They give engineers all the info they need about the precise position of the rails, right at that spot.
So are we talking like making sure the tracks are the right distance apart, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. But it actually gets way more specific than that.
Oh.
Remember those numbers on the plate?
Yeah.
Well, those indicate something called the offset,
Sure.
which is the horizontal distance from the plate itself to the nearest rail.
Okay.
And the other number, that shows the cant.
Can't. What's can't?
Cant. It's just a fancy word for tilt. Like the tilt of the track.
Hold on, kilt. Why would the track be tilted?
Good question. Okay, imagine you're driving a car super fast around a bend.
Hmm.
You naturally lean into the curve, right?
Yeah, so you don't, fly off the road.
Exactly. Same principle with trains.
Yeah.
On curves, they actually tilt the track inward, or cant it, to counteract that centrifugal force.
Whoa. Okay. That is actually really cool.
Yeah.
Never thought about it, but makes total sense. So the datum plate, it makes sure that pilt is just right.
Yes. And this is where the little sliding block comes in. That's how they know if the track is moved or not.
So the sliding block is like really important then.
It is, yeah. Think of it like a snapshot in time.
Okay.
It shows engineers how much the track has moved since it was first put in.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, tracks, they're not as solid as you'd think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They shift and settle over time, with the weather, the ground moving, and all those trains rumbling over them.
I guess that makes sense, especially those massive freight trains.
Exactly. And even tiny little movements, if you don't stay on top of them, they can turn into big problems down the line.
Like what?
Well, you could get uneven wear and tear on the tracks, a really bumpy ride for the passengers.
Oh, yeah.
And worst case scenario, you could even have a derailment.
Yikes. Okay, so that's where our little datum plates come in, keeping things running smoothly.
You got it. They're like the silent guardians of a smooth ride.
I like that.
So where were we? Oh, right, the sliding block. If it's red, that's showing you where the track actually was when they installed the plate.
Right.
But if it's green, that means it's at the design position, where it should be, ideally.
Ah, I see. So if the red and green blocks aren't lined up, that's how they know something's moved.
Exactly. It's like a big obvious sign for the engineers saying, hey, something's off here, better fix it.
And then they use the measurements on the plate to straighten everything out.
Precisely.
That's amazing. Such a simple thing, but so important for keeping everything running safely.
It is. And it's not just about preventing those major disasters either. Datum plates, they make the ride smoother for passengers too,
Oh, right, because...
By keeping everything aligned perfectly, they cut down on all those bumps and jolts you sometimes feel.
Makes sense. Speaking of things not going to plan, we came across a funny story while we were researching this episode.
Oh.
It seems, even with the best intentions, datum plates can still get misplaced, let's say.
You're talking about that forum post with the guy in the ballast brush.
Right,
That
that's the one.
buried a whole row of datum plates he did.
I guess you could say he took the ground level measurement thing a little too literally.
That's one way to put it. I think it just shows that even in the world of railway engineering, which is all about precision, there's always room for human error.
So true. But, even buried under all that ballast, those plates, they still held the key to the original measurements, right?
Exactly. That's why they're so important. The engineers, they rely on them.
It makes you wonder, though, We've got lasers and digital everything these days, so are datum plates are
Hmm.
they on their way out?
Right. I mean, we've got satellites measuring the Earth down to the millimeter. You'd think there'd be some super high-tech replacement for a little metal plaque. It's funny, isn't it? We've come such a long way in how we measure things, but that little datum plate, it's still around.
So what is it? Are lasers and sensors just not up to the task?
No, no, don't get me wrong. The technology is amazing. Like those laser-equipped measuring trains they have now,
Yeah.
they're fantastic at getting a really detailed picture of the tracks, over huge distances.
Yeah.
But they don't run all the time, obviously.
So you mean for the everyday checks and those smaller adjustments they need to make?
You still need something there on the ground that's always going to be accurate. Datum plates give you a fixed reference point that never changes.
That makes sense. And I guess unlike a computer, a datum plate can't crash or need a software update.
Exactly. They're simple, but they work, and they last.
I love that. It's like a testament to good old-fashioned engineering, you
Mm.
know? Plus, it's cool to think about them as this link between the old railways and how they do things now.
Definitely. They really show how those traditional skills and the modern technology, they work together to make rail travel what it is.
That's a great point. I have to admit, I've probably walked past hundreds of datum plates and never even looked twice at them.
I get it.
But after learning all this, I don't think I'll ever look at them the same way. It's like they're these little messages from the engineers telling us all about the precision and the safety of it all.
Exactly. That's what's so great about learning something new. It changes how you see the world around you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, listeners, next time you're at the train station, waiting for your train, take a minute to look for a datum plate. You might just be surprised at what you discover.